Give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pills gonna kill my head.
Hey, welcome back to Doug Pagitt Radio, the home of the doctors. Our new sponsor here on the radio program, the Doctor of Ministry program at Fuller Theological Seminary. So we've all decided we're going to be doctors too, because how can you advertise something that you don't subscribe to yourself?
That's right.
It'd be like those guys in the conservative radio stations not using carbonite backup.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it is that they use for their ads. Hey, we in each one of our programs, we have a little time where we remind each other that there's some things in the world that are not the way they're supposed to be. There's some things in the world that are broken. There's some things in the world that make you say cripes and come on, and you have got to be kidding me. And we're reminded that we live in a world that's full of those. But then at the end of the program, we like to be reminded as well that we don't have to live in a world like that. That's not our only choice. We don't have to be satisfied with the cripes and they come on, you got to be kidding me. We can be people who make the world the way we want it to be. So we try to put this pattern together that every time we say cripes and come on, you got to be kidding me in any of its expressions, that motivates us to be people who make the world the way that we want it to be. So I come up with a list every week of the cripes and the come on, you got to be kidding me. And some of you would know because I had some traveling trouble with Delta Airlines, who still has not apologized for my luggage problems. They lost one of my bags. Didn't lose it. They didn't deliver one of my bags in a timely fashion when I was traveling to Atlanta this week. So they had to send it to me that evening. Well, it showed up as I thought it would at 2:45 in the morning.
Yikes.
And they had the wrong address. So at 2:45 in the morning, they had to awaken me with a phone call. And I had to go and get my bag.
Is it like knocking on your neighbor's door?
Well, they had a street address that didn't exist. They had written it down wrong. So then there was nowhere to deliver it, fortunately. So fortunately, their error was so egregious that there was nowhere they could have delivered it. So I could be complaining about that.
Yeah.
I could be cripesing and come on-ing, and you've got to be kidding me, Delta Airlines. Or I could say that when I got back here to Minneapolis yesterday, I was in a bit of a hurry, had a few things to accomplish. Flight got in, pulled up to the gate at 3:07, and at 3:55, the luggage still had not come down the carousel because they couldn't get the luggage compartment open on the airplane. Wow. All the stuff was stuck in the airplane.
Yeah.
And when a number of us went up to the attendant working there and said, hey, any idea when the luggage is going to be coming here? That trying to be a little,
Right.
And the guy's like, what time did your plane land? And I said, 3:07 we pulled into the gate because I called my wife right as we pulled in. I have it here on my phone. He said, well, the luggage should be coming soon. That's what I assumed. Anyway, you would think I'd be giving the cripes and they come on, you got to be kidding me, to Delta Airlines, who then has not apologized
But no.
to me by putting a bunch of frequent flyer miles in my account.
That would be nice.
Nope, today the cripes that come on, you got to be kidding me, goes out, not really to you, but sort of surrounding you, to John Musick, the sidekick, the mystic. Okay, here's what happened. He picked me up this morning because I'm carless. So he picked me up this morning and we went to our preparation site and he picked me up in a 1991 Ford Taurus.
A silver.
A silver Ford Taurus. And we're driving along down France Avenue where the speed limit is 35 miles an hour. And I see John reach to his steering wheel with his right hand, and with his thumb, he pushes on something on the steering wheel. And I knew you weren't playing with the radio because you have your 2001 vintage iPod plugged into it.
That's right, retro.
With the click wheel plugged into it. And I looked over and I saw you were playing with the cruise control.
Yeah.
And in a Larry David-like moment, I thought, interesting. Who puts their cruise control on when the speed limit's 35 miles an hour going down France Avenue? It's not the place you use a cruise control. So I thought in my head, come on. Who puts the cruise control on when you're driving 35 miles an hour? So you, my friend, you get it.
When you're driving a 1991 silver Ford Taurus with a bastion rear quarter panel in Edina, you do not go 1 mile an hour over the speed limit.
I'm not advocating you speeding.
I mean, there's people driving down the road, and Mommy and Daddy, look, what is that? Oh, that's a car from the 90s, honey.
I'm just saying the point of cruise control is not to put it on in between stoplights. I think it's an overuse of the cruise control. So you get to come on.
Am I going to wear out my cruise control?
Who puts their cruise control on? Who puts their cruise control on when they're going down France Avenue? Come on. So to all of you who put your cruise control, that's for the highway. It's for the highway. It's a rule. It's a new, and I'm a doctor, so I get to make rules. So it goes out to the cruise. So the come on goes to him. So I was just going to give you the come on. I was going to do something else, and then you earned all these because we were getting out of the car.
Yeah.
I reached into the back door.
Yeah.
And opened the door, and I was reaching to get my bag out, and the back window was slightly opened, and I had my hand over the top of the door and slightly inside the crack where the window was down. And before I knew it, the power window had gone up on the middle finger on my right hand, and I still have a dent in it. You pinched my finger.
That's not a handle, Doug.
You pinched my finger in the door. And I have to tell you what surprised me. I didn't know that it had power windows.
It does.
In a 1991 Ford Taurus. I was shocked. Like, my finger was in there. I don't know what's happening right now because my fingers. I feel pain, and I realized. So I had to pull it out. You know, you can pull it out really quick when it's getting pinched in there. So the Cripes. I guess the Cripes will go to me for getting my finger stuck in a power window because I didn't know it. But here's the big one. Yeah. Here's the you've got to be kidding me. Here's where it all sort of boils down on this one. John told me that this 1991 silver Ford Taurus that he drives.
Yeah.
He said this during our prep time. He said, "You know, it's really well. You tell him. You tell him what it was.
Well, the 2010 Ford Taurus, regardless of the color, gets exactly or near the same gas mileage as my 1991 20-year-old Ford Taurus does.
Yeah. John says to me, "Hey, you know what's funny? The 1991 and the 2010 get the same gas mileage."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me. How can it be that in 20 years of engine and automobile development?" So we looked it up, and sure enough, the 2010 Ford Taurus, 18 miles in the city.
Same as the 91.
28 on the highway.
26
for the 1991. 18 miles in the city and 26 in the highway.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me, Ford. With all the work you've been doing, all the stuff, no one came up with a way for the Ford Taurus in the last 20 years to get better gas mileage?
Well, it's got two miles on this.
That is true. Maybe it's incremental change.
Right.
Incremental change.
Right.
So how can it be? And John said maybe it's conspiracy. He became a conspiracy theorist. That somehow the car companies and I guess it's the oil companies or the gas companies.
Sure.
That they're in on this thing together.
Yeah.
It's dumbfounding to me that we live in a world where now, since 1991, we have invented so many fantastic things, including the capacity for people to live in orbit on a space station.
Yeah.
And the Ford Taurus gets the same gas mileage today on the brand new one as the 1991.
That's right.
Ford Taurus. You got to be kidding me. What are these people doing in the automotive industry? Other than this, because you know what? Here's why I'm not a conspiracy theorist on this, because the conspiracy doesn't make any sense. Here's what would have made more sense: to raise the economy in cars to 100 miles a gallon, and then be able to charge people 25 times more per gallon for the fuel.
Well, maybe they're working on that.
And then you would have
for the next 20 years.
Then you would have had to extract less fuel, which is extremely expensive, and increased your margin.
Yeah,
that would have been a conspiracy that I could have gotten into, but I can't figure out what it could be that would cause a car company to do such a thing. So the Cripes goes out to my finger getting smashed in the window. The Come On goes out to guys who use the cruise controls while they're driving down streets that go 35 miles an hour in between stoplights. Overuse of the cruise control. And you got to be kidding me, Ford. Seriously, what did we get? Yeah, we'll get back to that if you want to chat about that here after the break. Doug Pagitt Radio. We'll be back with Rachel Held Evans. Doug Pagitt Radio on AM 950, the voice of Minnesota, and DougPagittRadio.com, even in Lauderdale.